Hey folks, it's Shooter. Hey, we're going to go over the Magnificent Seven tonight, cover some Elliott wave charts. Of course, at the end of our presentation, please do review our disclosures. Let's jump right into Apple. I mean, very bullish here. Above this 182.94, our prior resistance band here, I think is important. I don't think there's a lot of resistance here. So the 8-day is still ahead of us, but we're looking for maybe 211, and then we back test to maybe 201. And we've got this intermediate wave count here. So we got our 3 at 185.46, then we back test 181. So if you don't have a position on, about 181 is about as cheap as you're going to get, I think, here, barring any market conditions. Now, obviously our confirmed high was way the heck over here. So we're continuing to build out the leg of this cycle program, which ends at about 218. Looking at Nvidia, not nice pop on the China news, but according to the count, we're going to flush after about 489. So, we basically gave about a little more than a third of the candle back today going into the close from the highs. So, that could be it. And then we could head lower because the count was a little bit lower at one point. So, then we're looking for maybe about 258. So be cautious. So your stop is a close below 397.51, but that's still quite a ways down from where we are now at $70. So, I would potentially sell some covered calls, or you could trim, or you could buy some puts when it breaks that 397.51 and do very similar to the weekly strategy I talk about, or the monthly strategy I talk about in, buying puts once the count turns south. However, Nvidia is one that could hold up if we actually start seeing sales come out of China, and we get some confirmation from the State Department that they're going to do this, and Nvidia confirms that they're going to do this, which is one reason I don't think we heard a lot of news about that today, or at least when I got off the radar, I didn't hear anything before I jumped on this video. So that's my thought on Nvidia. Now, Microsoft looks, very constructive here. We've put in, a new all-time high here on our 3, put in our 4. Looks like our 4 is in. We're heading for our 5. Now we're in a cycle wave. So that 5 on that primary wave should come in around 388. I don't ever like trading 5s because of this kind of chop. Very challenging for me. Well, I think it's challenging for anybody. But your next entry long, considering where we are, we're at 361, would be off of this back test of the 5. Or just buy some puts around 330, sell some puts around 330 is a pretty safe spot. We got that 331.84, which is where our gap gets filled. So chances are that gap gets filled. It does bounce anyways. So, again, a bullish look. So right now we're 2 out of 3 are bullish looking. Meta, we're kind of in this flat. Now I have to jump out to the monthly here to really get a visual of where our count is way the heck up here. So let me come back to the weekly here because there's a lot of noise with all the labels I have up there. A lot of resistance overhead, a lot of resistance. Monthly resistance is September 21. At 338. Our top weekly resistance is up here at 376. So we've got quite a little bit to slice through there. And whenever you see that broad of a monthly, that means we pushed and we came right off as far as the monthly count's concerned. So here again, very much like like Apple, we have an intermediate wave 3 around 326 with a back test of maybe 314. So very similar on that topping pattern, the flat towards the top. And which, by the way, this is one reason I love wave 3 versus wave 5, because wave 3 is the longest wave. So you have a higher margin of error to be wrong and get it right. So, we closed below August 22 resistance. By the way, when I put these labels here just for your reference, they are off numbers. So that's the close of that weekly candle. That was the high of the candle. And conversely for the off number for the close. Now, I typically show monthly and weekly, unless daily is really a big issue and we have some confluence there for some reason. I'm pretty much going to stick with the weekly and monthly just so I can see where it is. So I get an idea where I'm batting my head against resistance, batting my head, up here, I'm thinking we get rejected and get a back test. Honestly, that's more there for counter trend, but that's my thought as far as the look. So we get that intermediate wave with a back test, very shallow, should be shallow up here, I would think. So looking at Amazon, we're looking for this 182 on our cycle wave 3. Looks like it's going to manifest. We're going. I mean, we put in that broader. This could broaden a little bit up here. So, obviously we can do something like that. Once we get in that high, wherever it comes in, again, we're going to be running into monthly resistance around that 165.35, and then our weekly resistance starts at that 178.68. So, we get up here is where we're looking for some rejection as far as the pricing is concerned. So let's take a look at Tesla. Boy, it's just a mess. I don't know that this is done. I've got the primary wave there because it's a primary wave. Okay, so we've got a 90-minute trigger, but we're sort of rejecting this a little bit. However, on the daily, we haven't flipped further south at all. So once we find this bottom, I would have rather it been on this trend support here, right here. I would have much rather it been. Just made it so clean to the upside. Really would. Beautiful to the up. Now we got all this support here, which is this support. This is the main one, which is that February 21 support. That's an off number. We tagged it, overshot it. Okay. Now we come down again and that slices through there. We're going down to the December, which is more over here, which is 173.89 is the next off number. And then I'm not really, we have another off number that's up here around 139.69. I don't really have it there though. I'm more interested in this lowercase off number because this is where we're, to the downside, we sliced right through that. You look at how we sliced right through that resistance band there. So it wasn't that important to me. Outside of this, let me jump out to the monthly because we've got another trend support line, which is off of these lows, and we didn't quite tag that low. I mean, you could come in and say here, but I typically like my next low, and then I look for a tag of that line. So I would think trend support is down here around $85, way the heck down here. So we're below that. We really don't have, we have this little band right here, actually. So we really have this other band down here between 95.30 and 72.20. So there is a little bit of a lower band that we could go. So we have a lot of support down here that, should hold us up. I really don't think we get back to this January 23 support at that 113.06. If we do something significant going on, it has to be out of China. So let me jump back to the weekly here so we can see where our targets are. We're looking for that 513 in the cycle wave when we do find a bottom here. It could be anywhere in this whole band here. I'm not going to say it's not because it could. I mean, especially with how moody Tesla's been. Got shaken out on that short trade today just because of where my volume imprint was telling me that it was done. So it was done on that leg, but it just popped back up and then it continued a little bit later. So, but then we're looking for a back test of maybe 408 once it gets going. So, we're going to be here a little while. So on the dips, anything below 180, I would, scale on dips if that's what you want to do, because I still think this has significant upside, especially with how GM and Ford have pulled back on EV production. That's just going to give Tesla more of an advantage here. They come out with some halfway decent products in their next issue. Autonomous works, hey, there's just a lot of bells and whistles that can send it up substantially higher than where we are now. And that 500 is totally viable at some point. So let's look at Google. Now, we have a new primary wave setup with a 90-minute trigger. So, we should, I'm just going to be candid. FANGs, we've gone to this flight to quality every time we have a rally, this entire leg here, and here it sort of shook us out a little bit because we were thinking for continuation. Really didn't get shook out here at all. We started trimming up here, which, was a good spot. Once we got this back test, it was basically clean sailing mode. So we're looking for maybe 157 with a back test of 148. Now, could we push lower here? Yeah, of course, we could fail here. In that scenario, I'm going to bring this up just on Google. The Bollinger, that's one thing I don't like about the way the fibs look, is we rolled over, but now we're starting to come back. So we broadened here. So we probably are going to top here. We should get sort of a squeeze here. We should come out, this is a very broad pattern, very broad, which makes it a little more challenging, getting a lot of conviction to the upside, but that's the count. So we close below this 8-day, I might start trimming and see what's going on, because we really did have a nice top here, but realize that is our super cycle wave 1 and super cycle wave 2 is our bottom here. So I have to come way out to the 3-month, I believe, to even see that. So our, we've got some serious highs back here coming in. We're not 20 years, but the slope would put us there. Maybe January 25. Maybe 26, as far as that timeline, just giving you a longer term view of what I see there. Now, the challenging part that, and I'm just going to come back out to a monthly so you get a little better picture here. But we have a very similar view to what we have when I reviewed the indices on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Okay. Very similar look to the S&P. And, this could morph into a 5-wave. We could just get stuck in this flat. So if the Magnificent Seven roll into this flat, we're going to do the same thing in the SPY and the NASDAQ. So really, you could just follow these stocks right here going through the end of the year. And that's going to be your tell. If we continue to get that euphoria and drive for more highs, then there's a very good possibility. Realize wave 3 is the longest wave. Wave 1 is here. So on our cycle wave, there is nothing that would prohibit this to get a little bit longer than wave 1, the upside. So once that risk of an Israel war is off the table or reduced or diminished, and it looks like they're done in Gaza, we really have the potential to have a decent catalyst if the dollar and everything else gets ahead of it. But that's what I have for tonight, folks. Great trading. Until next time.